Okay, my name is Duncan Bagley, and my project falls into the 96 to 100% range. My project is a data extraction tool for basketball data. This is data for any NBA team, and it would extract and put into an Excel workbook every game data for each individual player broken out into separate tabs, and then kind of just a snapshot of the team over the last day or so. So my project is broken out into 4 different sequences. The first being the team selection, which will pop up a window where the user can use a drop down to select the team. The second is the creation of the spreadsheet, which will open a website, and then it takes a screenshot, which I'll go more into later, and then it will pull out a CSV file that holds all of the player names. So that's where it will begin to do a looping function. Here's just an if statement that kind of trims the data when it has a certain value, just based on some players' contracts. So then we go back here. So here it'll just loop through each name, and it will change the tab name for each tab it creates, creating a separate tab for each player. So then, if we go back to the main page, once that spreadsheet's created and saved, it is opened again, and then it will loop again with those worksheet names, and then it goes into a website called Basketball Reference, which holds all of the data, and it will use a dynamic selector to pick the name of each player, and then it will go from that page to the game log page for this current year. This is where the try and catch comes in, is that some players listed on the roster haven't played in a game yet, and thus the page for this year doesn't exist. So that will throw an error, and when that error is thrown, it simply creates a data table that just says there is no data found on that player. The selectors were the most difficult part to figure out, just based on dynamically what the name will be and where the program would need to click. After it passes that downloadable CSV file into the sheet, it'll loop and then do it for the next player. Once everything is in the sheets, it will loop again and go through each and format it, simply just going through, and if it is a player that has data, it will just change some of the values, replace some blanks, and just update some of the values so it's easier to follow the data. Once all of that is entered into the spreadsheet, it takes this screenshot that's captured at the beginning, which is saved under the variable of screenshot. It's one of the many variables that's used to pass around the dates and the player names and the string values in order to select everything correctly. At the end of the spreadsheet, it will include that screenshot. So let's go ahead and run it. Select a team such as Miami Heat. So at this point, it goes to the website based on the values, and then it will go and get the table as the CSV, gets that text, pastes it in, and then starts looping through to place all of the player names as the tab names. Deletes that extra sheet, closes again. So then it opens back up. It'll find each player, click on them, click on their game log for this year, and then grab their CSV file. Now, I decided to make this program because I like to use this data a lot and mess around with it, use it sometimes in Tableau or Excel just to see the trends that are going on. And as basketball and sports in general are heavy on data analytics, I figured it was a perfect project to automate. While I was doing my Tableau project, I did something similar, and it took me several weeks to get all the data I wanted, but this allows me to grab all this data in just a matter of minutes. It's not in a very usable format when it's extracted. The website isn't super user friendly in that way, so I decided to pull it out and separate it out into my own workbook so that I could use it however I wanted. This would work for any of the teams. Would just loop through, and depending on whatever team you select, it would pick that player data. This website's updated every day, so you can pull out any of the data you want and it will be current and up to date. In order to avoid any confusion, the program will pull out the current time or the current date and adds that to the file name when it is saved, so that it can be recognized as when that data was downloaded, so that it makes sense why certain games are included and certain ones are not. Coming up here soon, there's an example of a player that doesn't have any data. This player here doesn't have any data, so it'll wait a few seconds and it can't find the link, and we'll click it out and then just say there's no data. So this is the formatting. A lot of times there's blanks that are left when players haven't attempted a certain shot, and I just fill those in with 0 so it can be more complete data. Likewise, it'll determine whether a game is home or away, and it just replaces those values with H's for home or A's for away, so that that data can be more complete. Going around here is just a lot of hotkeys, just basic Excel formula or Excel functions, and just repeating those in a loop so that it formats each tab how I want it to. And then part of an if then statement is when it gets to the players that don't have any data, it will recognize that those fields are empty and just skip over that, so it's not formatting a sheet that doesn't have any data in it. This is very useful, just piecing together everything. It separates it out by player instead of having a larger database, and then that can be analyzed when it's an industry that players are paid millions and millions of dollars a year. It's important to know what impact they're having on a game or how their statistics are showing. So this can be a useful tool just to see if money is really being spent in the right places, or so here it will take that screenshot from earlier and insert it in, and we've got our final page that will have the team snapshot that just has a little bit of information on the team, and then we can see the unique data for each player along with the times or the date stamp to signify when that sheet was created. So that's my project. Has tons of variables passing around to get all the player names and the correct data. It has the if then to deal with players that don't have any data or have a different type of contract. It has the looping because it goes through each individual player. It has the try and catch when it has to deal with a link not being found on the website. And then finally, the portion that I had to learn on my own was dealing with the variables that are stored as images from the screenshot, and then finding how to save those and then transfer them to the Excel page. So that's my project.